Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to my sewing room. Today I'm making a new pattern, something I've never made before. I've never made anything like it before, and it's a knit, and the knit I have is quite stretchy, so this is gonna be fun. Either way, we are making New Look 6301. I am making view B. I think the only difference between view A and B is the shorter sleeves on view B. This also calls for, in my size, calls for 2.5 yards of fabric, but I was not planning on making this dress with this fabric when I bought it. I was planning on making another one, so I got 3.5 yards. Thank goodness I did, because this is for 60-inch fabric and I had 45-inch fabric, so I had just enough fabric when I cut out all of the pieces. Literally, this is all I have left, and it's just like scraps. Some of them are a little bit bigger pieces, but not a lot. This is what my fabric looks like. It's kind of directional this way. It does have stripes in it. It is not all too stretchy on this grain line that goes along with the selvage. I can't remember. I don't think that's the weft. I think it's the wane. I think that's what it's called. But the weft is quite stretchy here. I do like the texture of the fabric. If you can see, if you can tell, it's kind of, there we go. And it's also quite nice, bright pink, yellow. And the blue's a little muted, and I do kind of like that. So, I have it all cut out. I do still have to put all of my markings on there, and I need to cut out all of my notches. There is, and I haven't read through my directions yet, but on the back of the package, one of the requirements is hem tape. I've never used that. Thank goodness that I remembered when I went to the store, because I was able to get some hem tape. I got let me find it real quick. It's right here. I got an iron-on adhesive, heat and bond. So hopefully that's the right thing. I guess we'll find out. So I've never done that before. The bodice, the shape of the bodice is really kind of wonky. Since it's a wrap dress, it's obviously cut. It's actually kind of like this. So it's cut kind of funky, and it's got a thick waist, or tie, not a waistband. It's got a thick tie to it. So that'll be kind of fun too. I am really excited about it. I'm just nervous to get started. What else do we need to know? Let me see. There's something else we need to know. The bodice front has pleats. I've never done pleats, so that'll be something new. And pleats on the stretchy knit fabric, that's fun. But that's okay. We'll deal with it. See, I have a neckband with this, which, as far as I can tell, it's like a neck facing, so that shouldn't be too bad, too confusing. What else is there? With a gathered skirt, I've done that. I really like gathered skirts. I think that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all of the markings on my fabric pieces and all of the notches cut out, and then I will be back when we start sewing. Okay, so my first step, now that I have everything marked, cut out and marked, I also, the pencil did not really work too well on this fabric. It kept stretching it and not leaving marks on it. So for the pleated areas, I had to pin it. So these are the dotted lines here, these pins, and they go, where'd it go? All the way to this pin. So I have to figure out how to do the pleats with that instead of with lime. So I'm gonna do my best doing that. And then on the front, actually on both front pieces, right and left, do that, and then I'll stitch it. And we got, no, I also, according to the measurements of the pattern pieces and my measurements, it should fit. But we didn't make a muslin, so before I started cutting this out, I didn't even think about it until I started cutting this out. So hopefully it fits. Hopefully it'll stretch enough so that it fits anyways. We'll find out. So I'll be back once I get those pleats done. So I have to sew the pleats and then baste the edge of both pieces to hold those pleats down. So I'll do that and I'll be back. So here are my finished pleats. This is the right side, the wrong side. These ones are actually pressed down. And then it's the left side, and this one is pressed up when you look at it from the inside. I also went ahead and did the next step, which is sewing the bodice back pieces together at the back center back seam. And to finish this edge, I did a zigzag stitch, and I will trim that seam allowance down before my next step, which is attaching the front bodice pieces to the back bodice piece. I found out what the hem tape is for. It's to keep my shoulder straps and anything, where are they at? This side. Anything along the stretch from stretching out. So I have to apply hem tape here and here, and also on my front bodice shoulder pieces before I attach them. So I will let you know how often I do that. And since I got the iron-on adhesive, I have to do that. So I will trim this seam. I will also iron this seam and then apply the hem adhesive, or the hem tape. And I'll be back after I stitch my shoulder seams together. So what the pattern called for was hem tape, which is exactly what I got. I got adhesive iron-on hem tape. Turns out what you actually need is stay tape according to the directions. The directions do say hem tape, but when I looked up what it actually is supposed to do, so I was supposed to put the tape on the wrong side of the front and back shoulders so that when I stitched it, it wouldn't stretch. That's what stay tape's for, according to everything I found. When I looked at hem tape is something that is adhesive with iron-on that you can literally iron the hem up, which is what I got because that's what my pattern said I needed, but I don't. I need stay tape. However, I can still use the hem tape. Thank goodness, because I don't want to go back to the store. I tried it on a scrap that I had, and so if I put one piece of hem tape on, it would actually be the right side of the fabric because it's going to stabilize that seam. But if I do it right at my stitching line, you won't see it when I turn the fabric inside out. Because you do, when it comes apart, you do kind of see that hem tape, and I don't know for sure if it will wash out good, but it stabilized really, really well the stitching for the shoulder seam, or for this, but it will be for the shoulder seams. And what else? I use it for something else too, and I'm not sure what yet. I can't remember when I read through my directions originally. But I'm gonna go ahead and try that. So I will iron that on and sew it and be back with the product when I'm done with the shoulder seams when I'm done, and then we'll keep going from there. As I was playing with this, turns out it's actually, if you just kind of stick it in there and not iron it on for a long time, it's actually pretty weak, and I can pull it off of the fabric, it looks like, without leaving anything behind and without damaging the other side. So if it does end up coming past my stitching, then I should just be able to take it off, it looks like, with a little bit of work. Maybe just some of it. I'll keep trying and see. This hem tape could work easy, actually, because I was able to get all of it off of this side that was attached. There is still a little bit in that seam. If you can see, I don't know if you can actually see. You can't, look at that. I can though. But I think if I had the patience, because this is not part of my garment, if I had the patience, I could get all of that out anyway. So I am going to use the hem tape. I'm going to do the adhesive, not like the directions say, but I'm going to use it basically the exact same way. So I'm going to go take care of the shoulder seams, and I will be back with that. Okay, so I do have my shoulder seams, there's the other one, my shoulder seams all stitched. Obviously the front of my dress, this is the right and this is the left right now since it's inside out. But I used the hem tape, I did my straight stitch, and then I did my zigzag stitch on both of my seams. I'm hoping that the hem tape actually stops some of the fraying before the zigzag stitch as well. That'd be really nice to make my seams last a little bit longer when I'm finishing them this way. So now I have looked at my directions, and my next step is to work with the neck band. This right here is the neck band, and it goes from one end of the shirt, one end of the front, which is way over here, all the way up around the back, and then back down and all the way down this one. So that's why this is actually two pieces and this long. And they stretch so that I can stretch it down along the top of the band. It literally is kind of like this, but it's an actual band. This is just a facing or a rolled hem. So I have to stitch the center backs together, obviously with right sides together. So I will stitch that one real quick here. And I don't need to finish this seam because it will be inside the neck of the dress. Okay. Now that I have that done, now I need to press my seam. It says, stitch center back, fold band in half lengthwise with wrong sides together. Matching small dots, press and pin. Okay? And then on the outside, I will pin the band to the neck edge, matching the center back and the notches. I have 3 notches. I have 3 notches here at the end. 2 there, 1 underneath my finger. I'm pretty sure I have to match these when I fold and press it. And then I have to match this to the dress, the bodice top. Let me go ahead and press, and I will be back to show you how I'm applying the neckband once I fully understand what I'm doing. I made a mistake. looking at the picture of the directions because I don't think I wrote it on my pattern piece. These notches, that's the center back. So I need to take this apart and sew these ends together and then do the pressing, and then I'll be done. I have you tilted down so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. But the neck band, it says to pin on the outside of the bodice. Pin the neckband on the outside. Matching our center seams, which are right here. Matching the notches here. This one right here. Stretch as we go so that it fits correctly in the correct spots. We have a notch right here. Seems like it wants to stretch a lot, but we'll deal with it. And then our notch, or not our notches, our dots have to be at our shoulder seams. Doesn't want to stay up here on my paper now. This dot right here. Okay, and then once you have all of that, like this, now we have to stretch it and fit it as we go here. We're using a lot of pins because we have to stretch it into place and to fit where it needs to go. Like that. Just stretch up. It's also going to have a little bit of ouchies in here because it's not stretching as much as it needs to. So that's okay though. So again, with this one, I'm going to go to find the halfway here. Pin it, and then do the halfway in between those. Okay. There. We'll do it this way then. Okay, so I've got so far all the way up until the shoulder seams are pinned. So I'm going to continue doing the same thing all the way down the front here. I'm going to pin it at the end on this side and do the same thing all the way down. Because it matches down here at the end. So we'll pin this. And then I will continue to stretch and work on this side, and then I will work on the other side. So, and then I will stitch as it calls for. Stitch the seam, stretching the band to fit, and then stitch away from the first stitching within the seam allowance. So it's a double stitch neckline, and then I will trim the seam to close the second stitching. So I will do that, and then I will be back. Welcome back. It is the second day of sewing. But here is my bodice completed so far. I have the, as you can see, I have the neckband on. It's all nice and pressed. I did that extra stitch for the extra line of stitching there in the back. Not perfectly straight, but it's okay. We're dealing, we're learning, so I'm happy. I also, off camera, went ahead and did the ties, the tie ends. So it was a big rectangular flat piece, and so I folded it right sides together, stitched it, turned it inside out, and I have both of them already pressed and ready to go because they are part of the next two steps. So I have to, the first thing, the directions say, let me clear out my table a little bit. I still have pattern pieces. Okay, the next thing, my directions say that I need to do is lay out, let me point this down. Lay out my bodice here. And then on the outside, lap the right front over the left front. This is actually my right front bodice, because the one that's labeled left has two of pleats and this one has one. So the one with two pleats goes on top. But there's a way to do this. You have to match centers and notches, having raw edges even, and then baste. That does not include the back. That's just the front. Duh, I knew that. So, I have centers marked. Here's the center of this one, that little blue flower there. And then there's the center right there. Ah, whoops. That didn't work out that well, huh? Okay, now I'm going to continue to pin my entire front here now that I have those pinned with my raw edges even. I'm going to continue to pin all of this down. Goodness gracious. And look at that, they actually do match quite well. I'm going to pin this down and then I'm going to baste it, and then I'll be back. Okay, so the next step, it says turn the tie ends right side out and press. I have already done that as I showed you. On the outside, I have to pin the ties to the bodice back, matching small and large dots and having the raw edges even. So we will flip this over and work on this side of it now, because this is my back. Sorry for the bad angle. You guys don't get to see a whole heck of a lot. I'm gonna have to figure something out. And then, okay, where are small and large dots? Oh, there's the small dots right here, which means the large dot is literally on the exact opposite side. Now I have to find my dots on this, and this is not at all easy. And I also can't remember if I used pink or if I used blue. Oh, I used blue. There's a dot. There's the large dot. Okay. Small dot, large dot. But outside pin ties to bodice, matching small and large dots. Oh, yeah, that's correct actually. I had to think about it. Like, isn't that gonna be inside out? Aren't you gonna, that's not right. Nope, that is right. That's how we're doing it. So now, I'll pin this. Pin, got that all pinned. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. There's a dot. There's a dot. That was quick once I found it this time. And now I'll baste these. And once I'm done basting those, my next step is to stitch back to front at the side seams. So I'll baste these, I will pin my side seams, I will stitch my side seams, and I will be back. So this is where we're at so far. I'm not sure if these will be tied all the way around the back and then brought back to the front, or if they are just tied, because it looks like it's supposed to be a bow up front. I think if they're wrapped around the back, I'm not sure. We'll find out when we get there, but this is it right now. I was worried it was going to be a little bit too big, but I think as I go, because it was so, it's so stretchy right here and it's so loose, and when I tried it on the first time, it was really low cut. But it seems to be like it'll be fine. So this is the end of the bodice for now. So the next step is to stitch the front skirt and back together at side seams. So I'm going to pin and stitch that, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got the skirt. It literally just looks like fabric, but it is stitched on both ends, or both side seams. I just realized that I still need to go back and do the zigzag stitch to finish the seam, but I'll do that once I turn the camera off for this next step. After I do that, then I have to stitch the skirt to the bodice at the waistline, matching those centers and notches and side seams, and then stitch that, and I'll be back. Okay, I got this literally looks just like the skirt, but inside is the top. So I have them attached. Now it says to make an elastic casing, and I've never made the casing this way. So you have to stitch the seam allowance 1/4 inch in, and then be able to thread the elastic through that. But I'm hoping I'm going to be able to, because I'm not sure, like, this is the pleat. Is that what I did? Pleats. This is the pleat layer, so this one and this one is the bodice and the skirt. But I don't know if it's like that all the way around, so hopefully it'll work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch the casing, and I'm going to insert the elastic. And I'm going to do that off camera because I really don't know if this is going to work. It's the first time I've done something like this. It's really weird to me. So, but I think the way the dress fits right now, it's really loose and it does need to be tighter. So we're going to do that. We're going to try it. So I'll do that and I will come back and show you what I've done. Okay, so I have the casing ready. It seems like it might work. You can barely see it. I got the little, where's my opening at? Where'd it go? The opening is here somewhere. I know I remembered to leave it open. Right there. There's the opening right there. I did not use the elastic guide like it said, because that always seems to be a little bit small or a little bit big on me. Because where this dress sits and where most of the waistbands of the dresses sit is actually the smallest part of my body, and the patterns are always bigger right there. So I used my actual waist where it fits. So now all I have to do is thread this through, and I don't think it's actually going to be too difficult to thread this through like anything else. Let's find out once I get it in here a little bit. Not really. I think the hardest parts are going to be the seams and the bodice where the darts are, or not darts, where the pleats are, because that's the thickest part. So I'm going to continue doing this, and then I will be back with the finished product. Well, with this part finished. So this is what we have so far. Can't quite see the whole thing. There we go. It's obviously not hemmed. I don't have sleeves on. And I was a little bit worried about this as I was making it, that, well, originally I was worried that it would be too small because I wasn't able to do a muslin or anything beforehand. Completely forgot. But according to my measurements and the garment measurements, it was going to be just 1.5 inches of ease in the bust, which was good. But I think because this fabric is so stretchy this way, it's a little bit too big in the bust. The skirt is good because I usually need to add anyways, and I didn't have to. But it's a little bit too big in the bust. I think I need to take 1 inch. Since it's 1.5 inches extra with these, I'm only going to take it in about 1/4 inch on each side seam. And hopefully that'll make it a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller, and fit better. So I'm going to do that, and I may take a break for the night because my dinner is almost done in the oven. And so I'm going to have to finish that. But I will be back either later tonight or tomorrow. Welcome to day 3 of making my faux wrapped dress with the yellow. I know it's going to be the final day because all I have left is the sleeves, which I have right here. It's the first thing I have to work on, and then hem my dress. So the first thing I have to do, I did, as you can see, already press my hem edge for this because it says to press the hem after you have the underarm seam already stitched, and it's just harder that way, especially to get one layer with such thin fabric that I have. It would just be a bit harder to press, so I did that early. Anyways, so the first thing I actually have to do today is it says to ease stitch the top of the sleeve, which is obviously a gathering stitch. So, and we have to do according to the picture, not according to the directions, because these directions are not completely clear. I have to do 2 rows of gathering or ease stitching, and then I have to stitch the underarm seam and hem the sleeve. And I think I'm going to use a zigzag stitch so that it stops the rattling, but it also still allows for the stretch of the sleeve. So I'm going to do that. And then let me double check and attach the sleeves. When we attach the sleeves, let me double check the directions, what it says to do. With right sides together, obviously, pin sleeve to armhole edge with the center small dot at, okay, so there are 3, that's right, I forgot, I marked that. There are 3 small dots on the sleeve. This one actually right here that I can see, you can barely see, is the center small dot. And then there's 2 more. There's one right there on that white flap. Nope, actually that's not one, that's part of the printing. Where's the other ones? Oh, that's right. This one is in the clump of pink flowers there. And this one was, where were you? I thought this one was just on the yellow, but now I'm not seeing it. I might have to get my pattern piece again to help me find it. Either way, there's 3 small dots on the arm. So we have to match the upper small, or the center small dot, underarm seams, notches, and the other 2 small dots, and then pull up the ease stitches to fit the arm. Obviously distribute that evenly and then stitch. Okay, got that. Stitch, baste, stitch again 1/8 from the first stitching, and then trim the seam below the notches close to the stitching, and pressing the seam open. So I will do that and probably hem it and then be back with the finished product. So I'll see you then. All right, here is the finished product. I love the flow. Nice little swirl. I was gonna modify the pattern so that I would have a fuller skirt, but the pattern called for, and I think I mentioned this earlier, the pattern called for 60 inches wide fabric, and mine was only 45 inches wide fabric, so I couldn't do that unless I wanted a seam down the front and the back of the skirt, and I didn't really want to do that. I was worried about the fit of the top because I was thinking, oh, it's just gonna be too big, and it is a little bit too big, and I was going to take the side seams in 1/4 inch, but I decided not to, and I'm actually kind of happy that I didn't, because yes, it does look big, but it is just a comfortable summer, light summer dress, so I don't really want it too tight. One other thing that I do need to do, I'm worried about this kind of flopping open if I'm not wearing like regular undergarments. What if I throw this on over my bathing suit or something? And I'm not sure how it will completely stay closed or if it just gets stretched out a little bit. So I am going to add a little hand tack right here just to keep it closed. And it won't change the putting it on at all because the waist is actually the smallest part here. So this will be no problem getting it on. So that's what I'm gonna do. And here's the final product. Not completely thrilled with the neckband, but it is the first time I've done a neckband. It stretched out a little bit more than I was hoping, but I'm really okay with it. I'm quite happy with this. It's the first time I've ever done a pattern like this. So thanks for coming, and please come back next time.